What's going on, Wrestling family? Welcome back to Hear These Thoughts. We are a couple of days away from the final match of John Cena. I don't think people understand the gravity of that moment, man, because for me, I'm starting to feel the feels. I'm starting to feel the sadness brew up within me, especially when I'm seeing the compilations of highlights from his career, the fans, saying how much they appreciated him and going back to watch his debut in WWE. All of that is just making this so emotional. And Saturday, it's going to be one of the most emotional moments in pro wrestling history. It really is. But if you read the title of this video, you guys know where I'm headed with this, okay? Although I'm a huge fan of John Cena, although I love celebrating his career, he's one of the greatest of all time. You guys know me. I like to be honest on this channel because I consider you guys my family, right? I can't come on here and pretend like I knew as soon as John Cena strapped up his first boots that I was going to be a big fan of his. Like when I saw that haircut, I wasn't like, oh my God, yeah, I'm a fan of his. I've been a fan of his since day one. I can't say that, bro. In fact, it was the complete opposite for me. I hated John Cena, right? And when I say hate John Cena, I'm not just saying I don't like him. I don't like the way he talks. No. Whatever John Cena was on the screen earlier in his career, I changed the channel. It got so bad that them making him the face of the company made me start to fade back away from watching WWE and push me into watching independent wrestling to get my pro wrestling fix. Which, if you think about it, it was a blessing in disguise because I got introduced to promotions that I never would have known about and wrestlers that I probably wouldn't have ever seen. But regardless of that, that is still crazy when I think about it. I don't know what was wrong with me, but let me explain to you guys why I got to that point, okay? So I lived through the Attitude Era. And like most people who did, they will tell you The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin was the best of the best when it comes to entertaining, when it comes to pro wrestling. That no one can ever replace them. They are two of the best that ever did it, right? During the Attitude Era. So when it came to a point where Stone Cold Steve Austin had to retire due to, obviously, when he suffered some injuries and stuff, and then The Rock stepped away from WWE to pursue a career in Hollywood where he filmed Scorpion King and The Rundown and Walk and Talk and all these different things, which I like those movies. It was hard for me to accept that these guys are going to go away. And for me, I'm like, there's nobody who can replace them no matter what or who they are. I was gatekeeping like a mug and I had no power over the company, right? And then we saw the debut of John Cena. Now, when John Cena showed up and did the entire Ruthless Aggression promo against Kurt Angle and they had their match, I was like, okay, well, this guy seems pretty cool. I didn't think much of it. We've seen a lot of guys come into WWE over the years that seemed like that they were going to be something, then they end up being nothing, and we didn't see them anymore. And I don't mean nothing as a human being, but in the way that they booked them, right? But when I saw John Cena get some offense in on Kurt Angle, I was like, okay, they must be thinking a lot about this guy. This is cool. I'm interested to know who this guy is. I was like, okay, this is something new. Maybe it's something refreshing that we can get. He won't be Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock, but let's see where this is going to go. But once they introduce the Doctor of Thuganomics gimmick, bro, yo, when I say I hated that gimmick, bro, I hated that gimmick with all my soul. With all my soul, bro, because I didn't know who John Cena was, right? When he came out, when he had all the stereotypes from hip hop at that time, the backwards cap, the long tee, the jersey, the chain with the lock on it, the baggy jorts, the shoes, coming out rapping and stuff like that, I thought that this was Vince McMahon's sick way of trying to concoct something to make fun of rappers and try to push it as far as it can go. Like, I thought he was just making fun of people like, let's just see how far this would go. I had no idea that John Cena was actually into rapping prior to all of this. I was like, bro, why do we got Marky Mark in the Funky Bunch up here? Why do we got Malibu's Most Wanted on my wrestling screen? Why do we got this created character that my friend made in Def Jam Vendetta trying to be in pro wrestling? And why is it working? Why is it work? Do a lot of people like this? And even on top of that, when I heard him cutting promos or raps and stuff like that, I thought it was corny. I didn't understand how people liked it. Despite of the way that he dressed, I didn't understand why. I thought it was horrible. And maybe because I was like being a snob when it comes to rap, because I was listening to people like, I don't know, MF Doom, Pharoah Monch, Lupe Fiasco, all these other people, right? So when anyone came on there and rapping, and that just went across any promotion that had rappers try to cut promos, rapping, I was just like, this is so like elementary and kind of cheesy, right? And then when he came out when he came out to have that feud with Brock Lesnar, I was like, oh my God, they really going to make his guy the face of the company? If this is what I got to deal with on a weekly basis, I'm good on WWE. I've been watching this since I was a kid. I am good on this because this is a crazy idea. I don't care what he does in the ring. This is Vince McMahon's sick joke that's working. And I can't believe it. I was mad at the fans. I'm like, bro, why are y'all okay with this? This is weird. And then as time goes on, he made it worse and started to come out with the spinner titles. Oh my God, bro. Those spinner titles, I still hate those titles till this day, bro. Because that was on, spinning was on everything. We had the spree rail shoes with the spinning rims on it. People had spinning necklaces, spinning all kind of stuff. So for him to come out with the spinning title just was the cherry on top of the ice cream that I thought was a whole mockery of the hip hop rappers or whatever the case. I sound like I don't even listen to rap by saying that, but it felt like it was a mockery. And then as time goes on and he starts to fade away from the Doctor of Thuganomics gimmick, I started to appreciate his work even more. I was like looking at my friends like, hey, yo, y'all heard of this guy named John Cena? Hey, he the one, bro. He is him. They're like, bro, what are you talking about? We've been rocking with him since the Doctor of Thuganomics. But once he started to dress like what The Rock said, wearing the Fruity Pebble colored shirts and, started to cut these promos left and right, cooking people all over the place, I started to be a fan. Again, I had no idea that the Doctors of Thuganomics gimmick was actually an exaggeration of who John Cena really was. I just thought that this was Vince McMahon's concocted joke of throwing this on him, try to make people mad and try to see how far he can go with the gimmick. But now that I understand that that really is who John Cena is, it makes me look at it a little bit different. Now, those raps in the promo, still corny. That's never going to change. That they still, when I go back and watch them, they're still very corny. But now I really appreciate John Cena, the promos he cut, especially what he's done with Make-A-Wish. And I love when people help out people in the community, man. Like that, he's a really good dude, at least from what I understand. And, watching this match from that day forward, when he switched over to who he is now and looking at the promos and everything like that, it got me to appreciate that and really love John Cena, right? And, if you know me, if there's something that I really, really hate and someone finds a way to change my mind about it, whatever that thing is, you can't tell me anything wrong about it at that point in time because they won me over. For instance, I used to just really dislike like Captain America and Thor and even Iron Man. Those are characters I really never cared about. But when the MCU came out and made movies that were really good surrounding those characters, they won me over. Now you can't tell me anything about those characters. And the same way I felt about them is the same way that I feel about John Cena now. So again, yeah, I still think it's crazy to that day. When it comes to people I don't know, I don't typically hate them, but I thought it was just a sick joke concocted by Vince McMahon, and it was just kind of like annoying, at least to me. But at the end of the day, I'm a big fan of John Cena. I am a huge fan of John Cena, man, and there's really nothing he can really do wrong in my personal opinion, unless he actually does something very terrible, which I highly doubt that would be the case. But again, this is going to be an emotional weekend, man. It's a big deal. And I hope to see you guys this Friday when we live stream Friday Night SmackDown and when me and the Flex Zone podcast live stream Saturday night's main event. Let me know in the comment section, what's your favorite John Cena moment? And am I tripping about the Doctors of Thuganomics gimmick? Are you guys big fans of that part of his career? Let me know what's the highlight of that part of his career. I would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Salute, peace, have a great day.